Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are unpacking something truly fascinating in this explainer. We're going to be looking at a 25-minute workout where the source material actually has zero spoken instructions. Seriously, there's just a title and a background song. We're going to see how the rhythm, the lyrics, and the pacing of that exact song literally dictate a physical transformation. Think about it. When you strip away the heavy gym machines, the barbells, and those resistance bands, what's actually left to push your muscles to the limit? Well, the answer is the soundtrack. It is the rhythm of the burn. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this by looking at the strict parameters of the routine, which are stated entirely in its title. We have exactly 25 minutes on the clock. The specific target here, to lift and grow your glutes to achieve a rounder booty. The location is just your living room, and the tools, absolutely none. Now, emphasizing that last point is absolutely crucial. Since you are at home and there is zero physical equipment to provide external resistance, something else entirely has to step up to drive the physical results, right? Something has to force those muscles to contract, to fatigue, and ultimately to grow. So here is our roadmap for the explainer today, which actually mirrors the psychological phases of jumping into a tough home sweat session. We've got 1, the at-home glute goal, 2, the sweet motivation, 3, bringing the heat, 4, staying in control, and 5, time to walk away. Starting off with section 1, the at-home glute goal. How exactly do we build without weights? Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast at play. On one side, we have reality. You're at home, working out on just your living room floor with zero physical equipment. But on the other side, we have this intense audio environment that literally acts as your substitute for weights. Because look, to get a muscle to grow, to get that rounder glute shape we talked about, you absolutely need progressive overload or sustained tension. Without dumbbells, you have to rely entirely on high-intensity pacing, rapid repetitions, and a psychological atmosphere that just pushes you way past your comfort zone. The background music essentially steps in to become your personal trainer, pushing you right into what the lyrics call a fever. And this musical exertion journey completely maps out how the lyrical shifts in the song perfectly align with the physical effort required to grow those glutes over 25 minutes. We move from a really welcoming, sweet start that acts as our physiological warm-up, and then we escalate sharply into the fever and heat, which is your peak muscle burn. Finally, we transition into a phase of strict bodily control and cool down. It's just a perfectly choreographed arc of intensity. Moving right along to section 2, the sweet motivation. This is where the mind and muscles are just getting primed. Listen to these lyrics derived from the very beginning of the track. You are the sweetest of all, you make me happy. Notice how upbeat and positive this is? That repetition serves a very distinct purpose here. It is a psychological warm-up. Before you drop into deep squats or high-rep glute bridges, you really need to be in the right headspace. This friendly, welcoming energy just eases the user right into the routine. It kind of removes that initial dread of the 25 minutes of hard work to come, basically smiling at you before the real exertion begins. All right, section 3, bringing the heat. We are now entering the peak intensity phase of the timer. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, because the background song quickly introduces the concept of a fever. Now, in the context of an equipment-free glute workout, fever literally translates to the intense lactic acid buildup in your lower body. When you're doing dozens of targeted bodyweight pulses to grow the glute muscle, it burns, right? It physically feels hot. The music is actually naming the physical sensation you're experiencing on the mat, acknowledging the pain of the muscle tearing and rebuilding. Notice the aggressive lyrical repetition here. Heat, heat, heat won't stop the fever from burning. This isn't just some catchy chorus, guys. It is a rapid-fire lyrical pacing that perfectly mirrors the repetitive burning pulses required to target glute growth at home. Literally, every time you hear the word heat, you should think of a pulse, a lift, a tight squeeze of the muscle. The track is actively instructing the pace of your repetitions. You can't stop the fever from burning because you are smack in the middle of the hardest part of the set, and the audio is demanding that you keep going. Right at the peak of this physical stress, we get what I call the psychological push. The track suddenly declares, never ever gonna let you go once I get my hands on you. When your glutes are absolutely on fire and you're tempted to drop your form or maybe just quit the video entirely, these specific lyrics function as a solid mental anchor. It is aggressive, relentless motivation. The music has its hands on you and simply refuses to let you quit. It demands that you finish that repetition to get the physical results you showed up for in the first place. Which brings us to section 4, staying in control. This is the endurance and stabilization phase. So the crucial point is captured right here in the music.
I put you in the driver's seat because we stay in control. When your lower body muscles are completely fatigued from all that heat we just talked about, your form tends to break down. We all know the feeling, you get sloppy. But these specific lyrics metaphorically remind the user to maintain strict bodily control. You are in the driver's seat of your own body. You have to stabilize your core, control your breathing, and manage the descent of every single movement even when you're completely exhausted. That precise control is exactly what prevents injury and maximizes the lift and growth of the muscle without needing equipment.
And finally, Section 5, time to walk away, the last stage of our explainer. So I have to ask you, how do you abruptly end a 25-minute muscular burn? When you are totally keyed up, your heart rate is maxed out, and your glutes have been pushed to total fatigue without a single piece of equipment, how on earth does an audio track successfully manage the physical and mental cooldown? Well, it does it by giving you explicit, undeniable permission to just stop. Notice how drastically the lyrics shift here. Please just walk away. Leave me. You can walk away. After 20+ minutes of demanding that you stay, promising that it will never let you go, the soundtrack suddenly releases its grip. It's an incredibly effective psychological cue to drop the tension in your shoulders, release the tight engagement in your lower body, and begin the much-needed cool-down phase. You've done the hard work, now you can walk away. Let's break down the final, dramatic lyrics of this aftermath phase. The song mentions needing a phone call and having a heart in pieces. Now, if we equate this to the literal physical reality of the workout, this represents total exhaustion. Your heart is pounding out of your chest, literally in pieces, after a successful, highly targeted lower body workout. You're probably lying on the mat, physically spent, maybe needing to call a friend because, you're barely going to be able to walk up the stairs tomorrow. It is the ultimate physical release after a long period of intense, sustained tension. And as you lie there stretching out, this is what you hear, slowly fading out. Walk away, walk away, walk away. Notice the repetition again, but this time it's not that rapid-fire heat demanding a muscle pulse. No, this fading repetition acts as the literal ticking down of the 25-minute timer. It slows your heart rate, it brings your breathing right back down to a normal baseline. It's the perfect rhythmic closing of the session. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Is the right soundtrack the only gym equipment you actually need? We've just walked through how rhythm, pacing, and perfectly timed lyrical motivation can literally push a person through a grueling 25-minute glute-building workout without a single dumbbell in sight. It really makes you ponder how an audio atmosphere can entirely replace physical weights in a home workout environment, essentially tricking your mind into pushing your body to its absolute limits. Thank you so much for joining me today for this explainer. Keep learning, keep pushing yourselves, and I will see you on the next one.